Yeah, this comment is interesting. It comes from King and it goes as follows. You need to speak more clearly. It's hard to follow. You are presenting it to the public, so speak better. To take a dislike for putting no effort. Personally, I think my voice was fine. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, it pretty much sounds really similar to what I'm talking like now. Like, honestly, bro, like, I don't know what you want from me. Like, I don't know if you just didn't plug in your headphones or turn up the volume enough. Cause yeah, my bass voice is monotone when I'm not like screaming at the camera. But anyway, peace. He that heareth you heareth me, and he that despiseth you despiseth me, and he that despiseth me despiseth him that sent me. Luke 10:16. So, Absolute Superman. I'm going to be real with you. I have mixed feelings about this story arc. You know, personally, I enjoy the changes to certain characters in the Absolute universe. I say that like there's so many characters. It's only like Batman and maybe Wonder Woman as well. And now counting this one, obviously Kal-El. So yeah, personally, I think the story itself is, I think it's fine. But the small changes that I don't like is what is like really apparent to me. Now, obviously, for context, this is a universe that Darkseid created within the most recent story arc. I feel like I have to say that every time I review something in the Absolute universe, but I just want to make that very clear onto why things are the way they are. They're in a way, a very spiteful way for Darkseid to say, F you guys who's been screwing me over ever since I met you. You know what I mean? At least that's how I look at it. The Absolute universe, that is. So moving into it, yeah, we get like a small little breakdown of like how this version of Krypton came to be and how it is now. It's not too dissimilar from any other adaptation. Basically, Krypton destroying itself, yada, yada, yada. It's the only difference is this time, there's a gimmick to the symbols and family crests, so to speak, or at least former family crests. So the House of El symbol is no longer what it used to be. It isn't just a symbol and a beacon for hope for a better tomorrow for the people of the entire world and galaxy. Now it is literally an image of, you know, someone not being able to do a money spread and pay their bills next week. It's literally like the image of the hyper flanderized version of the blue collar worker. I say that in the way I say it because personally and honestly, blue collar workers make a substantial amount of money for the field that they're in, like considering construction and just overall infrastructure maintenance for the overall cities and big small towns alike, things of that nature. Guys, I am so sorry for the yap session that I just went on. That tangent was so unnecessary, but it's like I get so tired of people like having this weird misconception about blue collar workers being broke chronically. Like, it makes no sense. It is not even true. Anyway. So yeah, this very premise, as far as like it being a symbol of the working class, it's just stupid to me. Like, it makes no sense. I do like the fact that Jor-El, you know, in a bit of irony, ends up being, you know, ousted from the Science Center or the, you know, League of Science Committee, blah, 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 utilitarian, whatever. Yeah, insert, you know, league or council of any random society in the galaxy far, far away. Like, I'm so serious. It's so cookie cutter. Like, this happens to Krypton every time, you know? The elites ignore the problem that's going on with the planet and it gets destroyed. So like, I wasn't too mad at it, so to speak. I just don't like the whole, you know, brokies, because it's like the whole premise of it is based off of a lie and misconception of real world, you know, economic structure. I'm sorry, wait, is paying for rain not crazy? Like realistically, like at this point, I gotta ask, how the hell did Krypton even explode this time if they can control the weather? Like, I'm assuming they could have the similar technology to control like the geographical structure of the planet itself. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too deep into it. I just think it's kind of crazy. Paying for rain? Are you for real? Like, bro.
A few minutes later.
Yeah. Furthermore, I just think that, bro, it feels very Zack Snyder in a way. Can I say that? Am I allowed to say that? Like, don't get me wrong, the person who, you know, wrote the story, I believe his name is Jason Aaron. Yeah, he's written a lot of stuff in the past, like personally, and a lot of things that have been touch and go for me personally. So that's why I wanted to look at this as it stands and as a whole. I want to like look at it as any preconceived notions I have of the artist, because people change with time. People want to write different things with time. So I'm not too mad at it for trying things differently. Whether or not I like all the changes or not is irrelevant. So then we pick up on, you know, just the overall goings on with, you know, the other situations on Krypton, you know, involving the fate of Kal-El, which we're going to get into now. Yeah, it turns out he actually grew up on Krypton, not too dissimilar from Kara, which is, I kind of love it. Surprisingly. No, right? Like, when it comes to the changing of the backstories, I don't mind Kal-El just, you know, being part part of Krypton's history, because like this was one of my biggest problems when it comes to like Superman as a whole. He has very little like real connection to Krypton aside from like the people who used to be a part of it, you know. This time he was in it, he was raised on Krypton, which is cool. Aside from that, yeah, it feels very Krypton in a way as far as like how they structure like certain plot points within this first chapter. You know, it is cool, like don't get me twisted, like it's great. Like again, I love what they do with certain characters, you know, i.e., you know, having Jor-El, you know, getting out the mud, I think again is stupid. I don't know. It is more believable that they don't believe him now because, you know, like he's just a blue collar worker. You know, what would you know about any of this? But it's like he was formerly, you know, in consideration for like the science center. So like for me, it's kind of hard to believe that they would just like write him off as like a lunatic or stupid. Same with like Laura L. Like they do the same thing with her. I already know some mouthreaders are going to be in the comments going to be like, oh, why didn't you call her Laura Van? Bro, I know her name is Laura Van. I called her the name of her spouse because she's married. Anyway, like she was this bright, you know, young talent, you know, destined for greatness, so to speak. And then because she cared about the planet, basically, she was again ousted and pushed out of the society. You know, it's not very unique if I'm being real, but I'm not really here for uniqueness. You know, if I'm being real, it's just kind of lazy. They just do the same thing with both parents. I'm like, okay, I guess. Like, I don't know, man. It's weird. Like, but then again, maybe that's why I got the House of El symbol too, because now it doesn't mean hope. Now it just means you're broke. So yeah, crazy that they're going with that for the new reason why the symbol is that. So yeah. Then we cut like to like the happenings on Earth, you know, basically getting into like, you know, Kal-El in the modern day and age, you know, on Earth. And what does he do? And he basically works a similar job to his father did on Krypton. Basically, he's secretly helping the miners like increase their productivity behind the shadows and behind the scenes. It's a very interesting dynamic. Again, it's very Man of Steel-esque. You know, it really is very early years Man of Steel, Kal-El from Krypton type of energy with how he interacts with people, his overall design, his overall build, etc., things of that nature. And you can tell that, yeah, it's taken a little inspirations from that. You know, it's not crazy to say that, in my opinion. It really does take inspiration from it, which is fine, personally. Aside from that, yeah, he ends up going through these weird Sentinel versions of like peacekeepers or peacemakers, like literally peacemaker. Like, no, I mean like the guy from the HBO Max show, Peacemaker, is now like in a weird Dread style, like utilitarian police force. That's how they're doing it this time. I don't get it. I guess it's cool. And Lois Lane, I guess, works for like the government and like she's a secret agent or something. So yeah, that's cool. I get no, I ain't gonna lie. I prefer reporter. Like personally, this is why I say I have mixed feelings, because I do like the chapter overall. Certain decisions they make, I'm just not here for. Then you have like the next chapter, like basically saying next time on Superman Absolute Universe, Lois Lane versus Superman. I'm like, bro, come on. What are we doing here? I will say, like, the power of this version of Kal-El, from what I've seen, is pretty broken off rip, like his base power. He can't control it. Like his heat vision goes solar flare almost immediately as soon as he overexerts himself, which to me is weird. I don't get it. I guess this is how they're going to be nerfing him this go around instead of, you know, giving him kryptonite. I'm assuming he's still going to have kryptonite, by the way. But instead of that having for that right now it's his own genealogy that's causing him damage and causing him distress in his day-to-day, which is okay, I guess. I don't know how I feel about it. So yeah, overall, and this honestly, this goes to show how interchangeable Kara and Kal-El are, because this is basically the origin that like Kara has. You know, he was born and raised on Krypton instead of just being born on Krypton and being sent away at an infant age. Their stories are still very similar in that aspect. You know, it's just slight changes of events, i.e., you know, Kal-El being raised with a whole different culture from his new home, so to speak. I don't know, man. To me, it just shows how irrelevant to me Kara is, in my opinion, like personally. And honestly, yeah, that's all I gotta say on that note. Anyway, moving on. Peace. But no, if I really had to give my like take on like the Absolute Universe as a whole, I'd say so far so good.